Vietnam and work in organizations. First one is Tien.
So I was part of the inaugural class in Viet back in 2010 when I was a sophomore. A little about me, I was a senior at VU, I'm about to graduate. Prior to this whole experience that I had, I was never really one to be part of activism because I came here when I was younger. I was like, I always bought into the model minority thing where you focus on yourself, put everything on your back, and try to advance as far as you can. And activism was never something that I was interested in because I always felt like I was alone and I didn't know if there were other people out there that thought like me. So I went back to Vietnam to learn about Agent Orange and Viet. The trip was designed to learn about Agent Orange and the legacy back there, how it still affects people. But more important than that, the Viet Fellows program was unity. I think the program was used to develop leadership, and what better way to develop leadership within the Vietnamese American community than to get a bunch of us together and learn not only from each other, but learn together. And when I went back to Vietnam, interacting with the kids back there, I learned the youth in Vietnam are not much different from the youth here. All the core values that we hold the same hold true for them too. They want to work hard. They want to work together, and maybe if they do that, they feel they can accomplish something. So something that I picked up from was the whole sense of community. The whole sense of unity. How we could work together. And something that I learned along the way was the Agent Orange problem has always been something that's prevalent. There's always been people dressing it. But the Agent Orange problem can never be solved until the Vietnamese American community has a hand holding it on. And what the program can still really need is we have to develop leadership within the younger generation because these are the people that are going to step forward. These are the people that are going to lead and actually bring about sustainable change to the Asian origin.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Kwang. Like Tien, I'm another student here. I go to school just down the street. I go to Tufts. But I'm a grad school student, so I'm a bit older than you guys. And I was part of the second year of the fellowship, so my fellowship actually lasted 6 months. So I probably got a few more stories to tell, and I also brought some pictures that I could show you guys. But I know one of the things that you guys are focusing on is leadership. And other words that have been thrown around is international development, and of course, cultural bridges. So I'm just going to try to bring all three of them together in 7 minutes. It's a tall order, but I'll see if I can do it. So, what? All right, I'll take my time. Great. I'll stay up here all day. No, so the biggest question for me wasn't activism. I've always been volunteering until traveling abroad into doing this and that. But the big question for me is why Vietnam? So just a bit about some background about me. I have been volunteering almost my entire life. Before Viet Fellows, I did a cross-country bike ride through America where I built houses. After the earthquake in Haiti, I went to Haiti and I did volunteer work there. So last year when I did Viet Fellows, it was really interesting for me just because it was the first time that I had ever considered going to Vietnam. And that's a really weird thing for me to say because I'm Vietnamese and I was born in Vietnam. So the reason I did it was just to see, all right, is there really anything there for me to see as a Vietnamese American? Is there a real reason for me to be there? And I think during the 6 months that I was there, I definitely found out that the answer is yes. And one of the first experiences that I wanted to share with you before I get into the pictures is at the air base that you guys saw in the video. We actually went there. So we went to the Da Nang Air Base. And how I would describe it is incredibly toxic. So we got there, before we got there, all of us had to buy rubber shoes, rubber gloves. We were escorted by military escorts. And basically when we were there, the tour that we were given was a little bit lacking, to be completely honest. He was a government official, and he gave sort of the government official responses of, all right, here's a big area where Americans dump toxic waste. I can't tell you much more about it. After 20 minutes of staring at just blank concrete, he just sort of shuts us out. But the really interesting thing is, as we're leaving, he pulled our leader aside. He said, "Come over here." And basically, he got really blunt. He said, "There were certain things that I wanted to tell you, but I can't do it because this is my job and I can't. But if you want to meet me for coffee later, then maybe I could go a bit more in depth." So that was really the biggest moment for me in terms of just realizing, all right, I'm here as a Vietnamese American. And just the fact that I can speak the same language as him and just have sort of similar cultural competencies as him, similar cultural backgrounds as him, that sort of gives me an extra in about his life, about what he experiences, about what he can offer me. And the pictures I'm going to show you, it's going to relate more to how it's important to just be aware of the culture that you're approaching, the culture that you have, and our importance of building cultural bridges. So my job was to work for the Red Cross in Da Nang. This is the picture of the Red Cross. And my job was actually to start an income-generating mushroom house. This is actually something that was completely new to me. I had no background in mycology. I obviously learned a lot about both business management and mushrooms while there, which is interesting and random. And if you guys ever have any questions about mushrooms, I will be available afterwards. But I just wanted to start with a process of, this is us visiting an example mushroom farm. This is just a bit out of Da Nang. This is actually what an industrial mushroom farm looks like in Vietnam. It's quite small. But this farm, this very farm, it's just one building. They sell, I think, over 15,000 kilograms of mushrooms per year, and they actually ship to national supermarket chains in Vietnam. So not a huge space is needed to grow mushrooms. This is my boss that I work with. He worked with the Red Cross with me, and it was his idea to start up this mushroom generating project. There he is with a bag of mushrooms. I'm going to go through these a bit faster. Those are just mushroom bags. There's different ways to grow mushrooms in Vietnam. How it's done industrially is you will hang giant bags from a piece of string, and mushrooms will come out, and we harvest them. And then you just keep watering the bags, and for 6 months or whatever, you'll just keep getting mushrooms. It's pretty amazing. This is our business partner in Vietnam. His name is Lee. This is part of what the process looks like in terms of acquiring the spawn, getting it inoculated, and then putting it into bags. So now for the actual part of the house. Again, my job was to create a mushroom growing facility. This is us creating the house. I'm just going to go through this pretty fast. This all happened in basically the span of a week.
How many people were doing that?
How many people were doing that? The team of contractors that we got had about 10 people. There was one foreman. So basically, these two are the finished product. I mean, that essentially is what a mushroom house looks like. And this next image is the pretty front of the building. That looks very nice, in my opinion. This is our produce, which we weighed. And one of the teachers at the school, at the Red Cross Vocational Center I'm working at, is demonstrating what we have. So in terms of leadership and cultural competencies and just building cultural connections, I think the main important thing to learn about leadership is the role that we can offer to organizations, to countries that we go to, is what we know as Americans, and what we can learn is what they know in whatever country that they're going to. So a good example of this is when I first got to the Red Cross, I had asked about their budgets, and then I thought that was a pretty simple question, just because I wanted to know, all right, how much money do we have to build this mushroom house? So my boss gives me a bizarre look. He says, we don't keep budgets. Here in America, that never happened. And I was really confused by this. And throughout this whole process of creating the mushroom house, I was very specific on, all right, we have to keep, a spreadsheet of everything we keep costs of, everything that costs us money, everything that we sell, and everything that we make money. So that's just one sort of example of how it's something that's not practiced in Vietnam that we can bring to them. Another example is the business plan. I came up with a business plan. I could show it to you after if you guys want. But in Vietnam, what his idea was basically just to build the mushroom house, and things would happen whenever they happen. And for me, the way I grew up and the way I learned about business, that's not how you do things. So I produced, like a 15-page business plan document of, all right, here are the exact dates of when we should do A, B, and C. So I feel like these are things that I added to sort of what he was accustomed to dealing with, that was both new and I feel very useful. What did I learn from the organization, working there for 6 months? I feel like I learned a lot too. One of the greatest things that I learned was just my boss's lesson about teaching me that profit is not the only way to measure your output. And to describe that, when he first described the mushroom idea to me, I actually thought it sounded completely out of the blue, and I was against it. I felt that the money should be better spent on buying, computers, vocational training, this and that. And one of the things that you have to learn when you're in another country is just that you have to listen. So his ultimate plan was not to build this mushroom place for pure profit, but what he wanted was just to have a program where students that went to our vocational center could learn how to make mushrooms. And that way, when they went back to their families that lived in farms, they could at least assist their families. And what he taught me was this, what good is it to teach somebody how to use a Macintosh or a Windows? If when they go back to their family who lives in the farm, they don't have a Mac or a computer. And all these skills that they used, all these skills that they learned, they can't even use at all. So for him, he's very intelligent in just knowing exactly who he was trying to help and exactly how to help. So that's basically my presentation about what I did in Viet Fellows. But there's a lot of other interesting questions that you guys are free to ask. Vietnam is a wonderful place. I get to ride motorcycles. There's delicious food there. You guys should definitely have a study abroad program if you're planning that. And again, I'll be up here for questions if you guys have any questions about anything. So cultural bridges. This is me fishing with my boss. Yeah. Well, that's me. That's my boss. Fishing together.
What walks that he rode the motorcycle is like